Many Americans are changing their political identities based on the current status quo. But do they understand the difference between liberal ideology and leftist ideology? So before I get right into the video, we are at 67 subscribers. Let's get this page to 100. So go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe. Although both political identities support and advocate for almost the same principles, leftism might be a political identity that most people know very little about. Liberalism could be what they're mixing leftist ideologies up with. For example, a classless society refers to no inherent ranks, shared ownership, and equal worth. To me, that sounds like the sweet spot that many people argue against on the right. Liberalism identifies center-right and center-left ideologies, basically conservatism and socialism. However, many individuals are rephrasing their political standpoint. Liberal conservatism, social liberalism, and neoliberalism, refurbishing the idea that leftist politics are liberal politics. Well, I believe that is wildly untrue. They're not nearly the same idea. People modernize and reposition their political identities to fit their economic perspective, making up new values and principles as if that makes the definition of leftism sound a little better. What people should understand is that liberalism and leftism have similar values, but both have contrasting economical and societal practices. I can explain some of the differences in this video. First, I just need you to tell me your perception in the comments below. The definition of liberalism states that a political or moral philosophy based on the rights of the individual liberty, consent of the governed, political equality, right to private property, and equality before the law, frequently cited as the dominant ideology. Before 1920, the main ideological opponents of liberalism were communism, conservatism, and socialism. In Europe and Latin America, liberalism means a moderate form of classical liberalism and includes liberalism, center-right liberalism, and center-left liberalism. North America almost exclusively refers to social liberalism. Also, some known philosophers that were known to be creating ideas about liberalism were John Locke and Thomas Hobbes. The definition of left-wing politics in leftism refers to the range of political ideologies that support and seek social equality and egalitarianism, often in opposition to social hierarchy, either as a whole or to certain social hierarchies to varying extents. Today, ideologies such as social liberalism and social democracy are considered to be center-left, while the left is typically reserved for movements more critical of capitalism. Social progressivism is a modern feature to leftism, and credits to some of the philosophical figures that created ideas surrounding leftism are Karl Marx and William Morris. Society seems to favor ideologies from left-wing politics. I'll admit that. While that feels like the step in the right direction, early century anti-communist propaganda and modern-day internet culture ostracizes real communist and socialist ideas. Other countries that have practiced or currently practice communist social economics have been labeled as inefficient systems of economics by anti-communist figures. Marxist theory of the state says communists believe all state formations are under the control of a ruling class. In other words, the ruling class of a society is a social class who set and decides the political and economic agenda of society. The belief system is that communist states need to establish an economic base to support the ruling class system by creating a socialist economy. This is the part that mixes people up a bit. Countries have to create a government or a system for establishing a functioning state to form this society that has resources that aren't accumulated by capitalists and wealthier individuals who exploit other people for more wealth. While America still spreads anti-communist propaganda and media companies push the wrong narratives because other countries create Marxist-Leninist structures, these frameworks were designed to seize state power, eliminate capitalist systems, and transition society towards a classless communist model. Greed of wealth, power, and for loyalty. People see communistic countries as unfair societies, which is where I believe there is the mix-up in leftist ideologies. People need to recognize that certain figures dismembered the left-wing economic ideas, that most figures in higher statuses tend to lack empathy and emotion other than evil or being villainous. Does that equate to how left-wing politics is formally structured? Does that mean liberalism is the better ideological system between the two? I would say it truly depends.